Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show. Welcome to another episode of, probably the first episode of the best and worst pens of 2020. I cannot believe it's already been 365 days since the beginning of this year. So, totally crazy, right? So we're going to do best and worst pens of this year. Let's take a look at just some of the pens that I bought this year. I started this journey back in 2018, late 2018. 2018, 2019, 2020. I cannot believe this will be my third year. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. So, at least I think it was 2018. I want to go back and look just to make sure, because sometimes I can be inaccurate. April, June of 2019. Yeah, so 2019 and 2020. Now, March 5th was the first day that I have recorded make sure that I'm being accurate. So the first pen that I got, looking back, were the Pilot Friction pens in January of 2020. And then I did a review of the Jinhao X750. And then I reviewed the Zebra G-Nibs. And then, let's see. And then I did the Tombow dual brush pens. Complete waste of time for me. I just did not understand them. I just didn't like them. I don't like brush pens. I find them to be very difficult to deal with. I did learn calligraphy this year, so I got the Pentel Sign Touch pens, pencil sign touch pens and the brush pen. Which is an actual brush on the end of a pen. Hi, Carrie Jo. How are ya? Are you having a nice day? Oh boy, well, I'm going through them right now. And then I got the Conklin Duraflex. Okay, if I could find my things. What did I do with it? I got the Conklin Duraflex. And at first, it was one of the most disappointing pens that I had gotten in the year. And that is because this nib, it does flex and it is smooth, but the consistency of the writing consistency was not all there. But then I got a Jinhao X450 nib. I got the X450. I got one of these. Is this one? Yes, it's this one. Or is it the black one? So I got this one with a modified nib feed unit. One of these comes with a modified feed unit. And it was so wet and so wonderful and so flowy. And after I looked at it, I realized that the channel on this was really deep, more deeper than any of the other pens that I've owned. So I took and put it in my Conklin Duraflex, and it immediately changed it from like a 1 to like a 7 or 8. And then I bought the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultraflex nib, this nib right here, and I put it in the Conklin Duraflex with the modified feed, and it made it my number 2 pen of the year. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? And then I bought Then I did 31 pens in 31 days, which is confusing because I don't know which one is which. Then I got the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultraflex nib, and that changed this to my number 2 pen. And then I got this Fountain Pen Revolution Ultraflex pen. And this has been my number 1 pen for the year. It is just magnificently beautiful. I mean, the chatoyancy on this is crazy beautiful. The nib is super smooth. And it just writes like nobody's business. I mean, This has the Ultra Flex nib on it, also the dual tone Ultra Flex nib. This has got to be my #1 favorite fountain pen for the year. The only trouble is that it's got more than one slot to twist, so you gotta kind of fiddle with it in order to get the chatoyancy to match up on all sides. Anyway, that's the only problem that I have with this pen. The next pens that I got were kind of challenging pens. I got this Noodler's Ahab, the Conklin Demoflex, the Noodler's Conrad, the Noodler's Nib Creeper, and then I got the 2 TWSBI Go pens. And then I received this as a gift. So these were all of the pens, pen ink combinations at least pens that I bought this year that I've been favoriting. I mean, all the rest of them, I think I bought this one last year. I think I bought this one the year last year. I think I bought that one last year. Most of these ones were gifts from Pen Friend Freddy. This was from 2019. This is the other one that I bought this year. All of these are bought in 2019. This is the only one that was bought in 2018. Oh, and this. Oh God. Okay, so if you guys want to see my 2019 list of pens, let me know. So these are the pens that I bought. I think that I bought this one for my birthday last year. Yeah, I got my new Falcon. This is November of 2019, so that's good. But my favorite pens that I bought this year would have to be my Hi Gristle, how are ya? Are you having a nice day? Hi Gary Scott, how are ya? I have to say that my Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex Nib in the Fountain Pen Revolution Himalaya, the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex Nib in the Conklin Duraflex. I bought this Demoflex. This is a Conklin Duraflex in Demo. I call it a Demoflex because it's obviously a demonstrator that has beautiful clear acrylic. I mean, it's got some water droplets in it right now, but this is a broad nib and it writes very smoothly, and it's a wonderful pen. And I can interchange the Conklin. I can change the nib housings in case I want to switch them up or whatever. So that's very good. The Noodler's Ahab was kind of a disappointment for me because of the grip section. It uses this thing. It's called a bottle, a milk bottle section, and I feel like my fingers are gonna slip off and cut myself on the nib tines. So on the nib shoulders rather. So this gets like a C in my book. I don't like the grip section. I much prefer a concave instead of a convex. Like this has no convex or concave. It's just flat. I much prefer a flat section without any flares than one with flares. If that makes any sense. And that is the same reason that I like this nib creeper, is it doesn't have any concave or convex. It's just flat. And this would have to be my number 3 pen of the year. So if they went in order, they'd go like this. And then my number 4 would be the Noodler's Conrad. And then this one is my Jinhao 599. Now when I bought this, they had an option on Amazon to buy one of these for $11 or go to eBay and buy 10 of these for $11. So I went to eBay and got the 10 for $11. Excuse me just a second. So this is a really wonderful pen, and the reason that I got this pen was because of the grip section, because the nib housing and the grip section are one piece. Now the only problem that I have is that the barrel has holes in it. The barrel has holes in it, otherwise I would eyedropper this pen. And it would make a wonderful eyedropper, but you can't eyedropper this pen because there's holes in the barrel. But that's okay. It's still a really nice, easily cleanable pen, which is what I was working towards. I was working towards getting an easier cleaning pen. And that's why I got the Ahab. But then taking it apart, you have to take out the breather tube. And then you have to remove this here barrel, take out the breather tube, and then you had to flush out this little bit here, which was really annoying. So, I've been looking for pens that are easier to clean out. And without so many parts to deal with. So what I did is I took and put a little bit of glue on the end of this bit so that way the ink wouldn't travel up into here. And of course I could eyedropper this. That's not a problem. I just don't want it to bloop all over the place, you know. And that's where this came in. The amount of ink that goes in here isn't quite enough to make it bloop out onto the page. Plus, I think that the acrylic or the resin that is made with this pen is a little bit thicker than this pen for eyedroppering. Now, why that's important is because if you have a thinner plastic and you have warm hands, it's going to push ink out through the nib and bloop onto your page more often unless you have a thicker resin plastic that doesn't transfer the heat from the outside to the inside to push the ink out. If you know anything about fluid dynamics, that's how that works. The next ones that are on my list of favorites are the TWSBI Go in broad and the TWSBI Go in medium that I got this year. These are most excellent, very smooth pens. And then this was a gift from pen friend Sharon. This is a platinum My Melody pen. So this is a really cute little pen that she gave me. It has a platinum nib and feed and section and an converter. I mean an ink cartridge. The only problem that I have with this one is that it's way too fine. This is a fine, and it writes like an extra fine. So it's just really fluid dynamics. Yeah, so this is gone back to the nearing the end, but I think that these are two of the. Now this one here was a complete and utter disappointment. I was really disappointed because of the this whole the section comes out when you're not trying to make it come out. And I can't do anything about that. There's nothing that anybody can do about it. No amount of grease or anything is going to help this pen. Plus, it's really slippery, which is not good for somebody who has any type of arthritis. These fins down here are super malleable. Can't even pull the nib and feed without mucking up the bottom fins. And they're not necessary. Like, they could have just chopped it off right there, and it would have been fine. They may break off over time or not, I don't know. But this being friction fit concerns me, because how are you to get the nib housing out if it's gonna turn inside of the nib housing? The nib housing turn inside of the grip section. The feed turned inside of the grip section. The nib. The feed turned inside of the grip. The nib housing. The nib turned inside of the nib housing. Sorry, my brain is a little frazzled. Yeah, I think this is a very poor design. So this would have to be my least favorite pen of the year. At least as far as design goes. I don't know very much about this brand. All I know is that it's going to take a while for me to get over the flaws of this pen before I start enjoying it again. But these are the pens that I bought this year in 2020 that I can remember of anyway. Let me double check. Yep. Oh, I did get my Jinhao X750 this year. Well, that's different. So, this is a Jinhao X750 with a modified nib and a nib feed. Has a fine nib that writes more like a broad nib. It's a really nice pen. This is Standard International. This is a good pen. However, it's heavy. It's made of metal, and it's probably the heaviest pen in my collection. So it makes it a little unwieldy to write with. And the three heaviest of the pens that I have are the 450 and the 750 and the 250 too. This is the first metal grip section, and I learned early on that I hate metal grip sections. I hate them. I hate them. I will not buy a pen if I know it has a metal grip section. Too slippery. Yep, I think that these are all the pens. This is all of the pens that I bought this year. If you had the chance to buy one of these, which of these would you buy? Just out of curiosity. I've been doing a lot of flex writing lately, so I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, the other thing that I bought this year was the Fountain Pen Revolution Ultra Flex nib in the 5.5 model. and this is the only pen that it fits because it's friction fit, is the Jane Davenport Incredible pen. Incredible pen. It doesn't fit in the 992, and it doesn't fit in the TWSBI or the Nib Creeper. It doesn't fit in any of the 5s. It's like a weird 4.5 size, which makes it extra small. Yeah, I could do that. I could also sand it down, but I don't like the pen. It's too heavy. And when I'm writing, I like to do a lot of flowy writing. These pens are made of acrylic. They're very light, especially the vegetal resin with the noodlers. They're like writing with a piece of butter. Especially when I use the Ultraflex nib. It's just fantastic. I like to use the Nib Creeper because it gives me a finer line than the Ultraflex. And also I have a little bit more control over the swells of the lines, the amount that it spreads. However, they're a little difficult to take apart. I wish they were more betterly made, because taking them apart is kind of harsh on the pen, and it's really difficult to be able to turn the knob, and I've already cracked the inside of my Nib Creeper. I don't know how I did it. All I know is that I cracked the inside of the Nib Creeper. And I've had to sand down the sides because there's nothing. It's another Slippery Joe pen. I've had to take my square nail file and actually make scratches on the side so that there's something to hold on to. Otherwise, I'd just be sitting there turning like this, doing nothing. Writing fatigue is a real thing. And it has nothing to do about the size of the pen. If you have a pen that is thin but writes very easily compared to a very thick pen, now these are some pretty thick pens right here. Between this and the Conklin, they're very similar in size. The Conklin has a nice, girthy, thick pen, and they write very smoothly, which is a plus. The Noodler's nibs don't write so smoothly. They're kind of arduous to deal with, and I have to do a lot of smoothing with my little smoothing tool in order to get them to write pleasantly. And I have to do a lot of flexing in order to break the tension. That's the other thing about flex nibs that I've noticed, that right when you get them, they're hard as nails. Like, they're just super hard. They haven't been flexed. So you gotta take about a month. Just take a day and just do some heavy flexing. Don't go overboard, but heavy flexing to break the tension. And it will write like a dream. after you get the tension to break. The same thing happened with my Pilot Falcon. It used to be where I would be afraid to make a little tiny swell, but now I'm just... It does kind of make it difficult and digs into the page a little bit. Might need to do some smoothing on this, but... There, that's better. That, or just do a whole bunch of scribbling back and forth. And rotate your arm from 3 o'clock to 2 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Also go up and down. Make sure that you're writing on a smooth surface. That way you don't catch any bumps in the table and bend your nib and kill it. And then after you're done smoothing, you should be able to write without hardly any pressure at all. The other thing that happens is when you warm the nib, when you warm up the nib, it has an easier tendency to splay the tines. So sometimes you have to warm up your nib like you warm up a car to get it to move smoothly. You gotta rub the friction. Get her nice and warmed up, and then she'll go. Real easy. all the Noodler's pens and the FPRF pens, they all smell. The best advice that I can give you for a smelly pen is to use soap and water. Use soap and water. Maybe mix in a squirt of your favorite perfume. And then just wash it really good. There's nothing worse than having a stinky pen. Mine smells like soap. Mine smells like Dawn dish soap. Ugh. Now the converter on this is made of vegetal resin. You can definitely smell it. Ugh. So you might have a problem with the vegetal resin. Ugh. But give her a little spritz of your favorite spray. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I do not want to be deterred by the stinky smell of a pen. But it's worth it though, because the flex on this thing is amazing. I can't spell amazing, don't notice. I'm looking for a plastic clipboard and a miniature plastic clipboard. So, well, what did you guys think of today's pens? Would you buy any of these pens? Let me know in the comment section below. And if you have any of these pens, are you dissatisfied with any of them? Also leave that in the comment section below, because I want to know. Glen. Twisby. No. Ahab. That can stay there. This can go in here. This can go in here. And yeah. So oh boy. Yeah, I have one Lamy pen that I bought last year, and I love it a lot. And I have all of the nibs that you could possibly get. I have a fine, medium, a broad. I have several extra fines and a 1.1 millimeter stub. I don't have a 1.5 millimeter stub, I think it is. Yeah, it's a 1.5. And or a 1.9 nib. I don't have a 1.9 because why? I'm not good at broad edged calligraphy. I'm just not. And that's fine. I have other pens to do broad edged calligraphy with. I have my Pilot Parallels, and I also have this Full Guilong 20902. This is the only broad edged nib that I have. It's a 2.9. Really broad. I also have the first fountain pen that I was ever given. This is a 1.5 broad edge nib, which is in a calligraphy pen, but I never use them anymore because broad edged calligraphy is not my forte. I'm more of a flex calligraphy writer, and that's the thing about all of these things. You will find that no matter how much you think you know about a subject, that you will always find something new and shiny and fancy. This is my most flexible writing pen. It's an actual brush for brush lettering, and I'm not very good at it. So and if I don't see you tomorrow, I will be back on the 1st for a currently inked. Vanishing point is sitting in my mailbox waiting for me to walk up and get it. Well, go get it! Don't just do something, stand there. No, I don't think I will get the new Pilot Parallel pens. I shouldn't have gotten these ones, but I thought I would go down a road, try it out, and I'm not any good at it. There's just things that you can admit to, and this is a defeat. The broad-edged nibs are the bane of my existence. So, oh well, that's life, right? Well, I guess that is all for today. I will be back tomorrow to share with you some of my favorite inks in 2020. So that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. Ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you. Good things about Lamis. They're plastic, not cracking. How are they on vacuum lock? I don't have a vacuum locking Lamy. I don't have I don't have that problem. So the Lamy that I have is a Lamy Vista. Nope, that's not a Lamy Vista. Looks like a Lamy Vista. This is my Lamy Vista, and I've never had a problem with it. It's very easily disassemblable. The only problem that I have with this pen is that in the converter, there's this little black ring here that sometimes gets ink right here on the inside of the converter, which is really annoying because there's no way to disassemble the converter. Not like Concline, you can just twist it and undo it. Oh. Okay, I lied. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, that's the first time I've ever done that. Well, I guess you can disassemble the feed then. But I have never had a problem with it locking up on me, the converter. Hell, I didn't even know that happened. But the nibs come off. Now I'm all full of silicone and my freaking fingers are slippery. The feeds come out with a little gentle friction. The feeds even come apart. Take your fingernail. Pull it down, and you can even disassemble the feed to the Lamy, so that way you can clean inside of the feed, and then you put it back together. In case you have shimmer inks, you can clean out the shimmer from inside of the feed. This one looks like it's pretty clean. I just use a baby toothbrush to get in there. But, I mean, these are easy to take off. Just a little fingernail right there and pull. If you don't have a fingernail, turn it over, take your barrel or the cap, hold the very edge of the nib will have a bulb of tipping material. You hold that against a firm surface and pull, and it should come right off. And then they just slip on there just like that. Yeah, I am definitely going to examine this a little more. I use syringes like this to clean out my stuff. I fill it full of water and then spray the water in there like that, and it usually gets it out pretty good. Of course, I don't have anything in here right at the moment. Don't plan on putting anything in here right at the moment. So, anyway, that's all for today. Thank you all for watching. Please don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. I'll be back tomorrow for another inky video. So we'll talk to you then. Have a nice day. Okay, love you, bye.